I just want to take a few minutes and teach you how to communicate. When you get an opportunity to share your ideas and to speak, here's how you do it. Hello, I'm Clayton Cloer. I'm the president of the Baptist University of Florida, and I have been a communicator most of my life. As a teenager, I was in 4-H and was state representative of the 50,000 4-Hers in South Carolina and had to represent them. And I did speech and debate in high school and competed in speech, competed in 4-H. And then I went to business school. When I finished business school at Clemson, I ran my own business, our family business, and did a lot of communicating until the Lord really moved me to do ministry. And I've been in ministry now for 32 years, and I've been a pastor, an executive pastor, and I've done a lot of speaking in my days. I have an earned PhD degree in this. So it's something that's more than just a hobby to me. It's something that I've really applied myself to do. And now I teach communicators. That's what I do at the university. I organize whatever I'm going to say into 4 words. And here's the organizational structure that I would commend to you. It is, hey, you, look, do. Hey, you, look, do. That's how I organize what I'm going to say. So the hey, that's something to get attention, something that is an opener, something that begins this conversation, that begins this talk, that begins whatever I'm going to communicate. I just spoke at a men's conference a few weeks ago, and I could speak on any subject that I wanted to, and I felt led to speak on how to grow old well. And I started with an opener of my own experience and how that my father had died last year, and it really caused me to contemplate growing old. I'm now the oldest in my family. I'm next up, and if you know anything about baseball, I'm kind of like the guy on deck. And so my dad's gone, my mom's gone, and so it made me think about how do I grow old well, and I used that opener of my father's passing and how this impacted me. And it drew me to this question, will I grow old well? How do I grow old well? So, hey, you start with an opener. You want to say something to your audience that says, this will apply to you. How will this apply to you? How will you be affected by this talk? What will you learn out of this talk? Will you be able to apply this out of this talk? And so I always like to hear the word when somebody's speaking I want to hear the you here. So say the word you. This is what you can learn from this. And of course, in this men's event that I just spoke in, there were 1,100 men there, and many of them were my age or older, 56 or older, and they could really relate to that, growing old well. And let's all face it, we're all growing older. I've never grown any younger, so there's only one way to grow, and that's to grow older. And few people do it well. So I wanted them to understand that this talk was not just going to be a journey of my experience, but it would be something that would impact you, that you would think about growing old differently and how you could do that well. And then look. And for me, I teach out of the Bible. Maybe you have some research, maybe you have some subject matter that you're trying to communicate, whether it's a book report or a lesson in class, or whether you're talking about a piece of real estate. You look at the property, you look at the content that you're trying to share, and you lead your audience to look at these things. And I think it's vital that you have some type of a structure when you start looking at things. For example, in my talk, I said, I'm going to give you 4 principles on how to grow old well. And the first principle is this, and I've just noticed that when you number them, when you say something that indicates that you have a type of structure, it causes people to lean in, it causes people to want to type it out, it causes ears to perk up. It also gives them an idea of completion, of a whole, a journey that they're on, that this actually has a start. And I think one day this guy will actually stop, so it has a finish. It gives you some structure and a way to follow it to where your brain will naturally begin to try to organize this content into some sort of structure. So give them structure. That way they don't have to work so hard to structure what you are saying. Rather, you're telling it to them. So, hey, you, look. Give them some structure. And under each point of your structure, like my first point was you have to shed your past. And I was talking about a character in the Bible named Caleb. And I know many friends who are named Caleb. Do you know the Hebrew word Caleb means dog or prostitute? Now don't start making fun of your friends named Caleb for this, because the biblical character Caleb really changed the reputation of the name. But when he started, the name had a very bad connotation to it. He had to shed his past. He had to shed the fact that his parents had given him a very difficult, somewhat humiliating name that he began to overcome, and that name became something that was associated with great victory and someone who'd faced the greatest challenges in life, so much so that here we are 4,000 years later, we're still naming our children after that one man. So he had to shed his past. And under each one of these points of your structure, when you're talking about the look, remember, hey, you, look, do. Under look, you need some structure, some content that you're going to share. I always try to explain, illustrate, and apply. So I try to tell them what it means, then I need to illustrate it, and then I need to apply them. Here's what that means to you. Here's how you need to respond to that. Here's what you need to do in response to this. And so, hey, you, look. I look at all of my material, whatever it is I'm trying to share, and then do. When I conclude, I then commission the listener to go do something and use the word do. Give them some of these measurable goals for them to then take and move forward. Your measurable goal today from this talk is that I want you to take the next talk that you do, whether it's a sales pitch or whether it's you telling somebody about yourself, or whether it's you teaching a lesson in some sort of format, or even presenting a product to somebody. I want you to use this structure. Hey, you, look, do. Formulate it in your mind, formulate it on the page, and then rehearse it with someone. Be able to just conversationally tell them what you're going to tell a large group. Because when you stand in front of a group of people, the dynamic changes, because now you've got all these eyes looking at you. And you know what happens when eyes begin to look at you? Your brain stops working. And so you have to rigorously prepare. Hey, you, look, do. Go into that talk and communicate effectively. Relax, let it flow. If you're overly nervous about it or you're frightened by it, you probably haven't prepared enough. Do some more preparation, organize it. Hey, you, look, do. And I believe you'll do well. I hope this helps you.